Welcome back to Dark Souls 2. We're going to go and speak to the ever irascible Laddersmith Gilligan and then make our way to Iron Keep. So the previous episode we beat Mitha. I'm just showing you here how I'm levelling my character up. Quite a number of levels ahead of this now, wherever I am.
Wait, you found your way out too. The name's Gilligan. Don't make me say it twice. Alright, what do you want? I have everything you need.
So he sells quite a lot of, he sells infinite supply of aromatic ooze, sells those lacerating throwing knives and bleeding serum, and I honestly have no idea what the miniatures, the ladder miniatures do.
You must have lost your marbles. Fine, I'm happy to be of service. You need a ladder then, sure enough.
I've got a feeling that he would be of service for anything you do, Laddersmith Gilligan, if you wanted him to do something shady, yep. Anyway, the amount that you give him in terms of souls determines the length of the ladder.
Do you?
And through this playthrough I'll probably use, I'll buy all the ladders at some point or another. Although we'll really be using the Silver Cat ring from Shalquar. That's the ring that decreases the amount of damage you take from falling. It's pretty annoying actually getting into the gutter in the Grave of Saints. That's where I am just now actually, in my playthrough.
This ladder's not for sale.
Don't know what he means by that. It's like a strange thing to say. We just bought it from him. Unless he means that he's not going to sell it to others. It's just for us. It's only for our use. And these miniatures, I'm sure he's just conning us when he tells us about them.
This place is flippin' mental. Huh? No, I wasn't born here. I'm from a wee bit out west. That's all.
It sounds Dutch when he says that,
Seen
Wesh.
some rough times.
Or Sean
I
Connery.
think I'll settle down for a while. You wouldn't believe the shenanigans that happen in my business. I thought at least here in the middle of nowhere, I could stay clear of, my old pals.
His old pals, the ones that he bumped off, the ones that he conned.
Ask me what happened. Have you no discretion?
That's why he doesn't want to talk about it.
That gaping hole. Well, search me.
I've got a feeling that by the end of our playthrough,
Toss all their rubbish.
by the end of the guide, we'll be sticking our sword through him.
Whatever they'd rather be rid of.
And he gives you a lot of information about what you might find as you go down into the hole. Those statues actually turn around. As if they've got their own volition. Like at one point I've seen them turn towards the sun, another time I've seen them, like just now, facing the mansion.
Somebody told me that the grave of a saint lies below here. Not built by the king, no.
He has a lot of
It date back to that time.
I don't know, he has a lot of information. I think he has been down there.
Connects to that hole. And there's something about some rat king.
And this is foreshadowing about how.
He's as rich as they say.
So he says he's rich, and I've not actually gone through the Grave of Saints as of yet, but I have read that there's a lot of treasures there. I'm not sure what treasures specifically, but
care to look over my wares? Please be my guest. I upgraded my stock recently, although it may be a bit out of your reach.
He's becoming very arrogant, Alonne.
I'm rich! I'm rich!
And then he sounds very childlike here.
I don't need to go home anymore.
Sounds like something a tantrum toddler would say.
Where is home?
And then we get the memory thing. I buy all the Alva kit here, and from now on we'll be wearing Alva armour. I really prefer it over the Drangleic set. I like the look of it. I like the fact it's kind of not too heavy, and yet it gives you good defence once you start to upgrade it. And I think we upgrade it here to +5, so you can see I'm wearing it just now, and I think I've got most of the pieces to +5. Maybe not the gloves, but
You, give it more. Yes.
It's got a beautiful red colour. I just like I just like everything about it. So this is a petrified something that we picked up in Orphan Peak. And that's actually a good weapon. The old whip, surprising amount of damage. Oh, the problem is, I think you need 20 points of dexterity to use it, and I just don't have that amount just now, and I'm not sure about dexterity, about quality build in this game. I've been concentrating on strength, and because there's more stats to put your points into this time, and your souls into, you end up kind of missing out on certain things. Because like in the previous game we only had like maybe 4 or 5, and this there's at least 6 or 7, adaptability, and yeah. Anyway, this is a whip. Oh, and there's items, as you can see. There's an item over to our right and there was an item below. We'll come back and pick them up later on in the playthrough. This is me playing around with the down sampling tool, turning off the post-processing. Another thing, in future episodes, I've switched over from fraps to shadowplay. While I've been making this guide and video, I've released GeForce Experience 2, and I just prefer the fact that shadowplay encodes the recordings directly as you're making them, and the files are a lot smaller and easier to manage. There is a couple of downsides, but can live with them. The quality is actually surprisingly very good. The colours aren't quite as vivid. Oh. Anyway, these are Alonne Knights. They cover quite a lot of ground surprisingly quickly. They have no poise. Their armour confers a lot of defence to them, physical defence to them. So even though they only have like something like 590 health points, they seem a wee bit more robust than you would imagine for 590. They have a chance to drop their armour pieces, Alonne Knight, helmet, chest piece, all of it. And they also have the chance to drop the Black Steel Katana. And Black Steel Katana, as you can see, does bleed damage, even through shields. The problem with the Black Steel Katana is that for a katana it's quite slow. And all its moves are very telegraphed, so you can see them coming from a mile away. It's a strange weapon. I'm surprised about how cumbersome it is to wield, because katanas are supposed to be, you know, weapons that are very easy and very swift to work and whatnot. This is actually a very good area to farm in for souls if you're wanting to level your character up kind of a third of the way through the game or whatever it is. Then this is the place to do it, the Iron Keep. And there's like 2 main sections to the Iron Keep. There's this 3 main sections actually. This section here, a section beyond that we're not going to explore in this episode, and a kind of independent section that has its own wee story of its own. And there's also Alonne captains, and you can differentiate between them by looking at their shoulders. The Alonne and their helmets. The Alonne captains have their own helmet and chest piece, and their chest piece has these like American football style shoulder bumpers. I don't know if that's not the words, but big bulky shoulders. And we've got one up the stairs here as well, another Alonne Knight. I found something out interesting yesterday, or the day before. I don't think I actually meant to try and break this guard there. But yeah, I went back to, sometimes I just go back to areas I've not been to for a while just to see if anything's changed. And I went back to the beginning of Harvest Valley or Orphan Peak, you know, where you get the poison pool. And the poison pool was gone. I love that bull statue. We'll actually go up there soon, or later on in future episodes. I love the atmosphere in this room, with the orange lights and the long shadows. and the bubbling sound of lava.
What?
This is Magerold.
Who, me? I'm Magerold.
Magerold,
Who
sorry.
else? What? Have a look at my wares.
So you can do the incense with him. You can use your simpleton spice or your skeptic spice to reduce the requirements for sorceries and spells. Jeez, only like a grave there. He's actually a very good vendor. He sells all the Jester Thomas stuff. We'll definitely be using the gloves because it increases the number of souls that you get from each kill, and I'll be using them over the alpha stuff. He also sells the bandit classes starting armor. The robes actually stop you from being backstabbed in PvP, and I buy the cap as well. He also sells an infinite supply of black fire bombs and charcoal pine resin, and they are very handy for where I am just now, the gutter, Black Gulch. He also sells these coins, and he has the wood carvings from Dark Souls 1, I'm sorry, all that kind of thing. And a fragrant branch of yore, which is obviously extremely important in the game.
I'm mainly a treasure hunter, you see. I'm only a merchant on the side. A ring about, looking for a find, following the instincts. I don't care what a thing's worth. What matters is whether it grabs me. Do I enjoy what I do? Well, that's a good question. I suppose I must. I've been doing it for ages. There's good iron in these parts.
So I think, I'm going to interrupt him, Magerold here. I think he's the authority in Dark Souls 2 when it comes to items and their worth. And well, maybe that's not true actually, because I suppose a second ago he just said he doesn't care about their worth, only whether it captures him. Or captures his imagination or something. He was just telling us here about the iron keep being too heavy and subsiding into the ground. This is interesting. So he's talking about Benhart. And that's interesting because Mollin thinks it's real. Remember, Mollin said he'll give Benhart a good price for it. I don't know, I think Magerold is like I say, the authority when it comes to... He's giving you some information here about what areas are coming up. But yeah, I think he's maybe the original owner of the armory. His memory's affected or whatever, and he's forgotten that. And maybe Mollin's just... He's not, you know, I think Mollin's an imposter, and he's accidentally stumbled into the armory. I could be wrong about that, because Mollin also has dialogue about his time in wherever it was he came from, Ferosa or whatever. And about how he was a vendor there and you had to grease the wheels to get anything done. Anyway, we picked up the Pharaoh's Lockstone. You can open this hidden path. Fire arrows, they come in very useful. You can use this ballista once you've activated the hidden wall. And this just takes you to the room. If we'd gone up the stairs where the bull statue is that spews fire through its nose, this is the room that follows from the stairs if you got them. Try to do a plunging attack here. Get lucky with my roll. And again, lucky. Or, yeah, lucky timing I suppose. So this, I love coming out here. I know some people don't like the Iron Keep, but I think it's got an excellent atmosphere. And I like it. One thing I maybe dislike about it is these archers, these sniping archers. These are Alonne captains up to my right. That's an Alonne captain up to my right. And that's what he does to you if you're in his line of sight. And the arrows can actually bend round corners. So you've got to be very wary and be aware at all times of where you're fighting. You can see we've got an Alonne... Well actually, let me talk about this first. Well, maybe it's my fault, but I didn't want to upgrade my bow before now because there's a bow in this area that I want to use, and I didn't want to waste titanite because it's a waste, and I didn't want to waste it on a bow or a crossbow. And I know we've got a +3 heavy crossbow, but you'll see that I still do very little damage. I think I only do 52 points of damage against this Alonne captain. Yeah, 52. So using the bow or the crossbow to take them out is like a no-no at this point. So we'll have to make our way over to them to take them out. Or take that one out. There's a couple of other ones. There's one down this pathway all the way down. So you want to pull this Alonne knight towards you, because if you don't, you'll have 2 snipers sniping at you. The one to our right and the one that's directly ahead of us. Yeah, but these Alonne knights don't have much poise, so they're so easy to stagger. They're actually really easy enemies. The only danger posed by either the knights or the captains, well, actually the captains have this move where they can like teleport across half the screen in like seconds. It's not teleporting, I mean, well, I guess you'd have to see it for you know, it's probably hard for me to explain it, but anyway, we lowered the path there, and don't open this door. There's a valve that we use to turn the fire off before we go in there, and we'll jump across here. You can probably dash across there, but just to be on the safe side I'd rather just jump. And while I'm got a wee gap before our next enemy, I've got 2 or 3 bonfire ascetics at this point in my playthrough. Not just now, not in Iron Keep I mean, but where I am currently in my playthrough. And if you guys have any recommendations about where I should use them, I'd appreciate any feedback. I'd been thinking about maybe using them on Mytha, but I realised we've just been at the Earthen Peak. Anyway, let me talk about this captain. As you can see, they've got this electric blue katana. It's actually just a special effect. It doesn't actually confer any special status to the katana. It's the same black steel katana that the knights use. These captains have a chance to drop their great bow and also their helmet and their chest piece. Their helmet and chest piece, like I say, is unique to them, but the drop rate is very, very stingy and very difficult to get. I've never got it once. Anyway, we picked up the life ring +1. As you can see, it gives you a nice 30 points increase over the base life ring in terms of the amount of health it gives you. Bonus health, I should say. You can actually bait that Alonne captain down to here using your crossbow, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to go the normal way to take him out. This guy up here is a bit of a fickle, this Alonne knight. The amount of times I've seen this idiot do stupid things like walk off the side is unbelievable. His AI pathing must be really kind of screwed up, and that's nothing unusual for him. I've seen him do that many times. This path is slightly dangerous because you can get knocked off by the arrows. That summon sign is for Lucating. The only thing you've got to watch out for with the captains is your stamina. You've just got to manage it well when you're fighting them. That fog gate takes you to a boss. He's actually probably one of the more difficult bosses. Anyway, pick up the Zweihander here. I like the Zweihander. It's quite slow though, but it has this excellent attack. Is it not the dashing attack? The backwards attack, like when you jump backwards and then dash forwards, and it can send enemies into there. That one that we've just seen, and I've started using it in my playthrough. But yeah, probably in the next episode we'll go through that fog gate and take the boss on. To make this jump, as you see, you just go against the wall and then jump, and you'll be safe. You'll land safely. We pick up the dull ember, and that dull ember is so important because it opens up Macduff as a vendor. So Macduff we met in Lost Bastille, so it's worth going back to him as soon as you get back to the bonfire, so you can open him up, because he's the one that allows you to do infusions, and he also sells an infinite supply of large titanite shards, which obviously by this point have been probably quite rare. And you'll notice that, see that howl, that death howl? I'm sure you guys are familiar with it. Obviously you played through Dark Souls, you'll be familiar with it because it's the same howl that the knights from Alonne will make as they die. Maybe it's just a reused asset by FromSoft, but who knows. But yeah, that boss there, quite a difficult one. Made easier if you're using Lucatiel. We'll pull the lever here to lower the path again. And we'll come up here and turn the valve off, which gives us access to this room. There's a way to turn the fire off, like I say, that, through the bull's nose in the room, the first room that you come into in Ironkeep with the two Alonne knights. But it happens later on in the level, and you might want access to the item that's below the bull's nose before that. Unfortunately, it's quite difficult to escape death when the flames are flowing through the bull's nose. So we get 2 shards there, which is quite good. Got another Alonne captain here, and see these 2 vents to either side of them. Be very careful, because if you sweep your sword over them, it can actually crack the vent and cause like a mini explosion and cause you damage. Yeah, these vents can I think you could probably use them actually to damage the Alonne captain. I've never tried it, but there must be something like maybe a fireball, a firebomb, sorry, or a pyromancy or a sorcery to take them out from range. That door to the right is for after once you've defeated the boss down there. The boss down there is actually optional. He's not. You don't need to take him on to progress through the Ironkeep. But he's a very good boss, a very fun fight, so I would definitely recommend fighting him and not skipping the fight. As you can see, we've got 2 ironclads, and these aren't old ironclads. The ones in the Forest of Fallen Giants are old ironclads, these ones are pristine ones. So we're back in the room with the bull and the fire, and we picked up the key there. I think it's the iron key it's called. And that actually is used in the Forest of Fallen Giants. Remember when we were making our way to the boss fight? The last giant? Anyway, see you in the next episode.